Alright, here we go, folks. The big guns are coming back. The Lord of the Rings is gearing up for another round of big screen glory. This time, they're not just dragging us back to Middle-earth. No, they're here to show us how epic fantasy should actually be done. Full-throttle productions kicking off this year, so expect news, rumors, and gossip flying faster than a thief in the night. Case in point, they've already tossed Viggo Mortensen the keys to his old ride Aragorn. The question is, what did he say? Who else is coming back? And what's the deal with the plot? Stick around, we'll break it down for you. You know it's gonna be a ride. But hold on tight, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Right now, the second season of The Rings of Power? It's like a car crash you can't look away from. Viewership? Tanking. The audience? Not exactly buzzing. Various so-called experts are pointing fingers at everything. The long break between seasons, the mixed reviews. But we all know the truth, don't we? It's not about budgets or breaks. If you mess around with the world building, cut corners, and forget the basics, you're gonna lose the crowd. No budget's big enough to save you if you forget what got you here. Meanwhile, Amazon's still putting money on the table, trying to revitalize things. And who's rolling up their sleeves? Peter Jackson and Andy Serkis, ready to work their magic, give us a masterclass on how it's done. Now, after the half-baked flop that was War of the Rohirrim, we managed to corner Philippa Boyens, the mastermind behind The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. In a cheeky chat, she spilled the beans about the new flick, The Hunt for Gollum. And guess what? She reckons it'll have a lot in common with The Two Towers. That's right, the second part of the original trilogy, the one that tied everything together and was a massive hit with both fans and critics. Sounds promising, doesn't it? But hold your horses, there's more. The Hunt for Gollum is going to feel fresh, she says. And despite Jackson stepping out of the director's chair, guess who's in the driver's seat? None other than Andy Serkis. And yes, you guessed it, Serkis isn't just the man with the plan, he's still producing and writing too. You think they're done? Not by a long shot. And here's the kicker, The Hunt for Gollum? Well, it's not your typical prequel, and that's what makes it intriguing. The story's set years before Frodo even thought about leaving the Shire with that pesky One Ring. So, the stakes? Yeah, they're high. And the characters? You've met them before. That's right. We're talking the heavy hitters. Aragorn, Gandalf, and the ever-sneaky Gollum. The plot, though? Here's the rub, we already know the endings. And that, my friends, is a problem. There's only so much you can do when you can't pull off a big twist. Still, if The Hobbit could become a box office hit despite its flaws, maybe, just maybe, this can too. But don't get too comfortable. This ain't your average fare. Now, let's talk business. Jackson and Boyens, when they stitched together the Lord of the Rings trilogy, had to make some cuts. And guess what didn't make the final cut? Aragorn and Gandalf's little hunting trip for Gollum. Didn't fit the runtime, they said. So what's the hunt for Gollum? It's that lost side quest, the one even Tolkien himself didn't bother detailing. And, let's be honest, that alone makes it intriguing. Remember the scene, Bilbo and Gollum, trading riddles in the dark, deep in the misty mountains? That wasn't just a game. That was the moment, the domino that tipped over the whole of Middle-earth. And now we're getting the full story. But here's where it gets spicy. This isn't just about what happened, it's about how it happened. Gollum wasn't always a bug-eyed, ring-obsessed creep. He was just another hobbit once, minding his own business, until bam, his life took a nosedive straight into obsession. And that's what this film wants to show. The transformation, the descent, the madness. It's a tragedy, one we've only seen glimpses of before. And just when you think that's the whole story, think again. They're expanding on that fateful first meeting with Bilbo, filling in all the gaps. How Gollum ended up in those caves, what he did after losing the ring, everything. And believe me, it ain't a bedtime story. Now, imagine this. Gollum, lost, wandering, scrambling across Middle-earth, meeting the wrong people at the wrong time. And by wrong people, I mean the worst Sauron's goons, dark forces, you name it. This ain't just a personal crisis, it's a chain reaction. One moment, he's muttering to himself in a cave. The next, he's blabbing about the One Ring to the big bad guys. And that's the kicker, it ties The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings together in ways we haven't seen before. But here's the burning question, how deep into Tolkien's lore are they willing to go? We know Aragorn actually tracked Gollum, Tolkien said as much. He caught him, dragged him to Mirkwood, and handed him over to Gandalf for a friendly little chat. But the details? Now that is where the filmmakers get to have some fun. And this is where it gets dicey. Fans are already sharpening their swords, ready to scream prequel cash grab if this film so much as sneezes the wrong way. But before you storm the gates, consider this. The real talent is back. Jackson, Serkis, Boyens. The old crew is assembling, and if anyone knows how to get this right, it's them. Plus, let's be honest, watching Serkis slip back into Gollum's skin? That's gold. And here's the twist this time. The story comes straight from Gollum's perspective. That's right, not Frodo, not Bilbo, not even Aragorn. We're in his head, seeing Middle-earth through his warped, desperate, paranoid little eyes. And the timeline? Smack between Bilbo's birthday bash and the Fellowship trudging toward Moria. So, expect some overlapping action. And maybe, just maybe, a few surprises. But hold on a second, here's the real pickle. You see, the age-old question that's got everyone talking, how the hell are they gonna deal with the aging of the original cast? Let's face it, folks, every single one of the old guard from The Lord of the Rings is pushing decades since their last trip to Middle-earth. That means wrinkles, gray hairs, the whole package. Now, we're not talking about Gandalf here, he's old by design. But what about Aragorn? What about Legolas? They don't exactly look like spring chickens anymore. And yeah, there's the kicker, the producers want them to come back as they are. So, what do? You bring in a little bit of Hollywood magic, that's what. Here's where the plot thickens, folks. Peter Jackson, Boyens, and Serkis, they all want Viggo Mortensen to suit up as Aragorn again. But wait for it, Mortensen, the man, the myth, the legend hasn't fully committed yet. He's sitting there, weighing his options like a man deciding whether to pull off a bank job or call it quits. See, the issue isn't that he can't still rock the role, it's that he's no spring chicken himself, right? A lot can change in 20 years. But here's the rub. Fans want him. Fans need him. His Aragorn became an icon, bravery, wisdom, loyalty wrapped up in one rugged, brooding package. If Viggo comes back, it'll send shockwaves through Middle-earth. But if he doesn't, let's just say, the pressure's on. So, here's the real issue. The one they're not telling you about. The filmmakers are staring down a problem no one wants to face. CGI. Sure, they can smooth out those wrinkles on Aragorn's face, make him look fresh again, but can they do the same with his movements? Can they make him fight like he's 25 again? That's where the cracks start to show. See, while Gollum's all CGI, no problem there, Viggo, Orlando, Ian McKellen, they're all real people. They've aged. Their bodies aren't what they used to be. The magic that made them legends in the first place? That's what's at risk here. How do you keep the magic alive when the players have changed? So, here's the plan. They're thinking of bringing in a young blood for Aragorn. A fresh face, a new actor to play the character, someone who can carry the weight. Sounds good in theory, doesn't it? But hold on, who could step into Aragorn's boots and not just ruin the legacy? This isn't a role you can just hand to some pretty boy and call it a day. No, Aragorn needs depth. He needs that rugged, battle-hardened presence. And honestly, who's got the chops to pull that off besides Mortensen himself? Boyens, Serkis, and Jackson have already tried. They've invited him back, but there's that pesky issue of aging. If Mortensen turns it down, they might need to find a worthy successor. The question is, who's got the guts to fill those shoes? Alright, so now you've got to listen up, because this is the part where things get really juicy. You know that feeling when you think something's just too good to be true? Well, fans are already on edge, feeling like the prequel might just be a prequel for the sake of it. But here's where the game changes. The old crew is back. That's right, the creative minds behind The Lord of the Rings, Jackson, Boyens, Serkis, they're all back in action, ready to make this thing shine. That's the real reason to get excited. And let's not forget, Serkis is back in the role that made him famous. Seeing him as Gollum again? That's going to be pure, uncut, legendary material. But hold on, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, folks. Here's the twist this time. We're seeing things from Gollum's perspective, and that, my friends, is a game changer. Forget Frodo, forget Bilbo, forget Aragorn for a second. This one's all about Gollum. We're diving deep into his head, watching Middle-earth unfold from his paranoid, twisted point of view. It's like we're seeing the world through a cracked lens, dark, gritty, and real. And the best part? This all happens in the time between Bilbo's birthday and the Fellowship's trek to Moria. So you know, it's going to be packed with drama, secrets, and some seriously unexpected twists. Get ready. And guess what? Ian McKellen's coming back, folks. That's right, Gandalf, the big guy himself, has already signed on. But wait, hold your horses. It doesn't stop there. Who else is coming back? You've got Aragorn, possibly, but there's a twist. Legolas is in the mix too. How do we know? Well, Serkis spilled the beans, said he's had a chat with Orlando Bloom, and guess what? They're using AI to fight the aging issue. That's right, folks, artificial intelligence. The magic of CGI is going to help de-age them all. But don't get too comfortable with that idea. There's something about watching the real thing that just doesn't sit well with a lot of fans. AI or not, it's still going to be a show. Now, let's talk about where this is all heading. The new film has the potential to be a massive hit. I'm talking about expanding Middle-earth in ways we've never seen before. Sure, it's got the nostalgia factor, with the old gang coming back to town, but it's also got a chance to take the universe to a whole new level. Fans are already guessing that we might finally get some answers to one of the biggest mysteries in The Lord of the Rings: Legolas's mom. That's right, Legolas's mother. She's barely even mentioned in the original books, but that's where the film might just step in and fill in the gaps. If they do it right, this could turn into a game-changing revelation for the entire saga. But here's the twist: they're not stopping at the hunt for Gollum. Word on the street is they're already laying the groundwork for more. That's right, Middle-earth is about to get bigger. They're exploring spin-offs, digging into the lives of characters who barely got any screen time before. Imagine this: a series just about Gandalf's adventures before the Fellowship. Or maybe a deep dive into Sauron's rise to power. And you know what? If they play their cards right, this could be massive. They've got the budget, they've got the talent, and they've definitely got the fans' attention. But here's the kicker: this could either expand the legacy or completely wreck it. There's no middle ground. They've got to nail it, or they'll end up just another failed franchise cash grab. Either way, it's going to be one hell of a ride. And now, the final piece of the puzzle, the release date. When can we expect this madness to hit the big screen? Rumor has it, they're aiming for late next year. But don't get too comfortable. There's a lot that could go wrong. Delays, reshoots, studio politics, you name it. And with this much at stake, you better believe they're going to take their time polishing every frame. The pressure's on, not just to deliver a great film, but to prove that Middle-earth still has magic left in it. And if they pull it off, it's going to be legendary. But if they don't, well, let's just say, people don't forget a flop in this town. Not when you're messing with an icon. So, mark your calendars, keep your ears to the ground, and get ready. Middle-earth is coming back, whether it's ready or not. Alright, that's the scoop, folks. If you made it this far, you're a true fan, and we've got plenty more where that came from. So, what's next? Well, don't just sit there. Hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and let us know in the comments what you think about this new Middle-earth saga. Do you think they'll pull it off? Or are we looking at another overhyped mess? We want to hear from you. And hey, don't go anywhere. We've got another deep dive lined up, breaking down the latest blockbuster news. Click right here to check it out. Until next time, keep those swords sharp and your popcorn ready. See you on the other side.